I stuck at 26, what can I do? This is a common problem for many test takers in IELTS listening section. Today in this video, I will provide you with one checklist that you can follow in order to improve your IELTS listening score. If you want to know more about IELTS, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and like this video. Well, why do some students, some test takers have the same number of correct answers? 25, 26, in very rare cases they can get 29, 30 and no more. Today we will discuss all possible problems that can create this situation. We will go through this checklist and probably you can find your problem there. Well, let's start from the first one. The first problems relate to your comprehension, how well you can understand English language. And the first problem is probably you don't understand the recording. Probably. So if you don't understand the recording, if you don't understand what they say there, of course, it may be difficult to you to increase the number of correct answers. What can you do in this case? You can listen to something, some videos, some audios in English as much as possible to improve your comprehension. This is just one way. The second problem is that probably you understand the recording, but there are some words that you don't understand. These words will stop you from getting a high score from IELTS listening section. In this case, you can try to listen to these words as much as possible, especially to the parts in the recording with these expressions or words. And maybe in this case, you may make yourself more accustomed to these unknown, unfamiliar expressions. Or you can also pronounce them by yourself. If you say them many times, this of course can also improve your comprehension. The third problem is that you can't follow the conversation. They change topics there quite quickly, especially in the third part or in the second part, in the fourth part. And that's why you cannot follow their conversation, you cannot follow their pace. This probably happens because you understand a little bit slowly, so you can work with speed while listening to something in English, and this of course can help you. Now let's go to the second type of problems that many students may have. These problems are with the task itself. Probably you don't underline proper keywords. You underline them, but you don't underline the most important ones. Or you underline too many keywords, or you underline few keywords which actually don't help you. You should work on this situation as well and try to improve this skill. Or probably you underline all important keywords, but you don't focus on them. Still, during the recording, you try to read the questions or sentences. You should stop this because in this case you cannot focus on the recording, you focus only on your reading, or you have two voices in your mind, in your brain, which actually confuse you. The next problem is that you don't try to predict the approximate answer. You don't try to guess the approximate meaning of the word that is needed. It's very important because in this case you make yourself ready to hear the correct answer in the recording. The next point is that you are not ready to paraphrasing or rewording of the task. This is the fundamental concept of all IELTS listening tests. They are all based on paraphrasing. And that's why when we read the task itself, we should be ready to hear not the same words, but their paraphrased, reworded forms. You should understand the main meaning of the task. You should understand or define which word is needed. Is it a verb? Should you find an activity, an action? Is it a noun? Should you find a subject or an object of the situation discussed in the task? Or should you find an adjective? It's like a modifier of a noun. So you should be ready to the paraphrased forms, and somewhere among these paraphrased expressions you should find your answer. The next problems are related to time management. So probably one of these problems is that you waste too much time marking the answer. Let's say that you are on multiple choice questions task, you have found the answer, you are not sure again, you try to read the question again, understand whether you have found the proper answer, and of course you waste your time because the recording goes on and they go to the next question. You should do it very fast in order not to skip the next answers. The next problem is that you become upset when you skip one answer. You try to define it as quickly as possible because the recording continues. You may skip it. Remember that they say the answer only once in the recording. They don't repeat this word again and again. That's why don't sacrifice the whole listening test just for the sake of one answer. Keep in mind that you can get at least 35 correct answers. It's a brilliant score. The next problems are about concentration. Probably during the recording you are thinking about your own problems, or maybe you don't think about anything else, but you are too focused on not skipping any answers. And this can make you a little bit nervous. Because of this, you can skip some answers. Or you can lose touch with the recording because you may be over-focused on one answer, and while you are being over-focused on one answer, the recording goes on. They go on and say the answers to the other questions and you skip them. It's of course negative. For example, you may have found the answer for the 21st question, then for the 22nd, and then for the 23rd answer you may be a little bit confused. You will try to find it, you will try to read it again and again, and the recording goes to the 24th and you will skip the 24th. In order not to do this, highlight keywords in all the questions or options. By this you will know according to which order they will speak in this conversation. These keywords will help you define the sequence of events described in this conversation. And it's very easy because in the listening section they always follow the order of the questions. And the last problem is that people become over-focused on the task itself and not on the recording. You become over-focused on the questions, answers, keywords, but you forget that the main answers are in the recording. You have to find them from this recording. That's why you need to balance it. You need to underline the keywords beforehand. You need to understand the sequence of events described in the recording according to these keywords. And then you should be focused on the recording by just sometimes looking at these keywords, which will just help you follow the order of the questions. Well, I hope that this video will help you improve your score in IELTS listening. If you want to know more about IELTS, don't forget to subscribe.